Okay, number 10, A and B run a race. That's 250 feet. It says in the first race that A gives B a head start of 70 feet, and neither wins the race. What does that mean? They tie. Their times are equal. All right. The second heat, A and B, they start at 30. A gives B the head start at 35. Beats him by 6 2/3 seconds. Oh, geez, this will be a tough problem. Oh, I see there's a typo over here. I'm going to write this over here. This is, let me read through that real quick. This would be 280 over A. All right. So I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to go right to the whiteboard now. And the reason for that is that, maybe I should just go right to the whiteboard in these problems here and write down what I do know and what I need to know. And let me get my eraser out. And I'm going to start, reading it. And, so I'm going to say, let me write this stuff down for you, kind of reading it. I'm going to say A is equal to time in seconds for A to run 280 feet. Okay? And I'm going to say B equals the time in seconds for B to run 280 feet. All right, I'm thinking about this. A is the time in seconds for A to run 280 feet. B is the time in seconds for B to run 280 feet. So I'm going to say A's rate what would A's rate be? It would be 280 feet in every A seconds. And what's B's rate? Well, B's rate is 280 feet in B seconds. All right, let's talk about the first race. And the first race, what I know is that in the same amount of time A runs, again, this is in the same amount of time. A runs 280 feet, whereas B runs, well, what would B run? He's given a head start, right? So, in the first race, A ran 280 feet, but in the same time, since, B was given a head start of 70 feet, B ran 210 feet. So, I'm going to write this down. Distance equals rate times time. And the distance for A is 280. His rate would be 280 over A. I don't know how much time it took him, but I'll just put down T. But it's in the same amount of time. So what does this guy run? This guy over here runs 210 feet, and his rate is 280 over B T. So I'm going to solve those equations now for T. And this would be A equals T. I still don't know what T is, or I don't know what A is. That's not important to me. I just kind of get relationships over here. And let me just keep going. And this is going to be 210 over 280 B equals T. And by the way, this T and this T are identical. But I'm going to write this down now. So A equals 210 over 280 B. But I want to simplify a little tiny bit. And what I'm going to do is, let me just write this out. 210 over 280. That's 21 over 28, divided by 10, by the way. And divide by 7, what do you get? 3/4. So I'm going to say A is the same thing as 3/4 of a B. Right, now I don't know what A or B is, but I do know that A is related to B by being 3/4 of B. All right? Now let's talk about the second race. And the second race, there's still a head start over here. And I'm using this, A runs 280 feet, right? And B runs, well, you know, B is given a head start, right? Now how much, that's right, he's just pushed forward. And he's pushed forward 35 feet. You know what, that doesn't look very neat there, does it? So B runs, well, he's given a head start of 35 feet now, right? So that's going to be 245 now. So he runs 245 feet. This looks like the same story over and over again, doesn't it? You know, so A runs 280 feet, B runs 245 feet. And I'm going to write this down now, just like I did before, but the times are not the same, by the way. Somebody won, all right? Somebody beat somebody else this time. It wasn't a tie race. So, you know, I'm still doing this D equals R times T, but I'll write this down, 280, and that's going to be 280 over A, and this is the time that A runs, but it's not the same amount of time. And B runs 245 feet, and his rate is going to be what? 280 over B, and this is the time that B's running that race. He writes a different time, but we'll get to that later. And what is A going to be equal to? A is equal to the time it took A to complete that race. All right, let's do this. Again, they're not the same times, though. They're different times. We'll get to that in a second. And this is going to be 245 over 280 B equals TB. And that's the time it took B to finish that race. Now, yeah, I'm reading. I can't remember what I read, but it appears that A won the race. So A gives B a head start, but he beats him by 6 2/3 seconds. All right? And I want to point out these times are in seconds. All right? So before I do anything, I want to kind of reduce it. And I'm looking at this thing over here. I'm looking at the 280 and 245. And I'm going to divide through by 7. Let me write this on the side for you. 7 into 245. Well, let's see, that goes 3, right? So what do you get? 3 times 7 is 21. This would be 35. And that would be 5, right? Let me do it again. 3 times 7 is 21. Yep, not so bad. 5 times 7 is 35. Yeah, I think I can do that. So let's reduce it. So what do you get? 35. And then 7 goes into 280. Let me write this over here. 7 into 280. That's pretty simple, isn't it? That's going to be 40. I'll put this over here. And I know that's reducible, right? So let's see. 35 divided by 5 is 7. So it's 7/8 of a B is equal to TB. But these are not equal, right? So let's write this down. So A could be equal to B if I give somebody something. Now, who took more time? B took more time. So I have to give A something. And what do I got to give him? I give him 6 2/3 of a second. Well, I got another relationship. I got this one here. And where's the other one? Right up here. I got 2 relationships now. And I'll write it down for you. And so A is 3/4 of a B. Now 6 2/3, what's that going to be? 18 23rds, right? Equals 7/8 of a B. Don't panic yet. We have to solve this out. 23rds. I'm no longer thinking about any of the letters in the problem. I'm thinking about doing algebra. And this is going to be 7/8 minus, let's see, 3/4 would be 6/8, right? Of a B. Let me do this. This is 23rds. And this would be 1/8 of a B. And you get 160 over 3 equals B. Well, that's not so bad. But, you know, I got to make sense out of that number. And let me write this down. 3 into 160. Well, 5, 15, 10, 3, 9. So it's 53 and 1/3. What? Seconds. All right? Now, by the way, someone says, what are you going to do now? I don't know what A is. Right? I got to figure out A now. It's problematic, but I got to go somewhere. And I want to point out where I'm going to go. I'm going to go right over here. It's 3/4 of a B. I'll write that down. So A is 3/4 of the B. And what's the B? 160 over 3. 3's cancel. 4 goes into 60. Let's see, 40 times, right? So what's A? 40. 40 seconds. By the way, I'm not claiming that's the answer. I'm just claiming I know what A and B. Right, now the question is this. I'll go back and read it to you. It says, how many feet can each run in a second? Well, you know what? Let's write this down. And I think I talked about the rates before. And the rate, if I recall, going back over here, the rate of A was 280 over A. Let me write that down. So A's rate, 280 feet in 40 seconds. Whoops, seconds. And that's going to be 7 feet per second. All right. And then I got to do B now. And let's see what B is going to be. That's going to be a tougher one, isn't it? And B's rate, let's put this down over here. I got to remind myself. I can't remember, to be honest with you. And B's rate was 280 over B. I'll put this over here. So 280 over B. And what's B? Oh, 1/63. And this is feet per second, by the way. All right. But anyway, I have to do the arithmetic over here. So 280 over 160 times 3. Ah, boy, 28, 16 times 3. I'll get there. 14, I'm just dividing by 2. 8 times 3. 7/4 times 3. And that would be 21/4. And what is that going? 5 1/4. So B's rate, and we'll look at the key next, just to make sure I'm doing this right. The B's rate is 5 1/4 feet per second. All right, let's go to the key and see how we did. And again, part of that is just looking and reading. It says, so A can run 7 feet per second. Well, got that right. And it says B can run 5 1/4 feet per second. Got that one right too. All right. Again, I consider it to be a difficult problem. They're tough to read. They're tough to get through. But the bottom line, you do get to the end of it if you try. And we want to encourage you to try these problems over here. All right. Thank you so much for paying attention. Again, if you're paying attention, you got to this level, good for you. My name is Ron Bannon. Email address, B as in boy, the @ symbol, NNON.US. And again, provided I'm not overwhelmed, I will get back to you. All right. If I'm overwhelmed, I won't get back to you. I could get overwhelmed if I get too many emails. All right. Thank you so much for paying attention. I do appreciate it.